Hello, friends. I'm your host, Dave Layton, and welcome to Signs of Our Time, discovering America's heritage, one sign at a time. This podcast is designed to provide the story behind the story found on America's roadside historical signs. I'm doing something just a little bit different today. I'm speaking with Todd Kent, who brings us information about historical markers and sites. I'm going to let him introduce himself, and then he'll tell us about what he does. Todd was referred to me by a previous guest on the podcast, Chris Woolsey. You can learn about Chris by listening to episode 23. Chris is really active in repairing and restoring roadside markers. It's fascinating to watch him. But enough about Chris. I want to visit with Todd today. Hello, Todd.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, my friend, and thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I've enjoyed watching some of your, well, that sounds like there's some I don't enjoy. I haven't seen all of your reels that you've put out there, but it's fascinating to learn about that. So let's start out. Just tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll talk about what it is that you do.
Sure. My name's Todd. I've lived in Texas almost all my life, and I have shot video all of my adult life, and I've been fortunate to be able to travel around, not just Texas, but a lot in Texas, and shoot a lot of educational type video, documentary stuff. There's been some science and a fair amount of history and geography, that kind of thing. So I kept noticing a lot of historical markers everywhere I went, and kept meaning to just start documenting them as I saw them. And it took me a while, and eventually I just started doing it. And now among other things I do, I make short videos just kind of reading the text of the marker and, showing the visuals around it or whatever's relevant to it.
Well, that's fascinating because when I visit Texas, there's historical markers all over the place and fascinating things. And I visit Texas quite often, especially East Texas, and enjoy. What's fascinating to me is sometimes you'll be out driving somewhere on a back road, and all of a sudden there's a historical marker. And so I had gotten with the folks at the Historical Marker Database, and they sent me a magnetic bumper sticker I have on my truck that says, "I break for markers." So
yeah, I heard the interview on your show, and it was great, and I use that website quite a bit. And every time I'm on that site, I keep meaning to tell myself I need to email that guy and get one of those. He has his own stickers, and I need to get one. But that's a great resource I use quite a bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But anyway, let's kind of focus back on what it is that you do. How did you get started?
I studied production in college at University of North Texas, and just right out of that, I started. I got hired to shoot video, and I've had a lot of different jobs over the years, but it's been consistent to where I would make short documentaries and even long form stuff, and my interests kind of lie in social studies, history, a lot of Texas and Texana and Texas facts. And so, one thing led to another, and I'm still doing it today.
Okay. So do you work in the video production industry now?
I do.
So that just bled over into doing this. That's great.
Yeah. Now, I've always worked in the field, and I've always kind of worked on my own projects concurrently. So, there's a lot of overlap to where if I need for a job, if I need to go out to like West Texas or some other part, while I'm out there, I'll look up what kind of markers are out there. Or sometimes, like you said, you'll just turn a corner and there'll be several. So, I try to get them.
Do you only focus in Texas, or do you do some of the work in other areas?
Well, over the years, I've been fortunate to travel in different parts of the country. I, when it comes to markers, I'm usually focused on Texas. That's not to say that if I'm in Arkansas or Oklahoma or California, I won't, and I'm there, I won't go ahead and get those. But the work I do, the output I do as far as historical markers are right now just on Texas.
Okay. I don't know. I don't have a staff. I pretty much do everything myself. But
I know
I'll
the
have
feeling.
one referred to me, or I'll come across some idea, and I'll write the script and do the research for it, and recording and production, all of that. I've kind of had to learn by the seat of my pants. I didn't have any formal training in it, but it's a lot of fun. It
Oh,
truly is a
absolutely.
lot of fun.
I like
And
the idea of being out somewhere kind of remote for one reason, but
uh-huh.
seeing something interesting and being able to document that, knowing that, most people are never going to be in that particular, in that forest or in that really small town.
Hmm.
But, I like the idea of grabbing it and kind of putting it out there so that people can see it. Otherwise, they'd never be able to see it.
What I did not understand when I first started developing an interest in historical markers was there is an entire culture out there about this, from the folks that decide they'd like to have one, to the production of one, to the historical documentation like you're doing. But it's just a whole culture out there. Something that I found fascinating. Chris mentioned it, and other folks have mentioned it. They remember as children growing up, their dads would stop and they'd all get out and read the historical marker. I can remember doing a little bit of that. So
Sure,
it's a lot of
yeah,
fun.
it's a tradition. A lot of everybody kind of has somebody in their family that's, the person that's always going to say, "Oh, we got to stop real quick and just
Yeah.
check this out, see what this is about." So, a lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah. All right. So what's in the future for your activity? Anything on the horizon? You going to do anything different, or what do you think?
Well, as far as markers go, it's occurred to me that I'm kind of collecting a lot of footage on all these, and I keep everything I shoot. I've kept everything I've shot for the last 20, 30 years. So, I'm creating a great big archive. I don't know, uh, it occurs to me that I'm amassing all this footage. I'm not exactly sure what's going to be done with
Okay.
it. Like I said, if I make it, something on, like years ago, I did a short piece on the El Camino Real, which is a historic road from, I'm gonna hope I don't get it wrong, Louisiana through all the way down to San Antonio, and it was historic when there were French settlers and Spanish settlers and natives. If I'll shoot something like that, I'll get a historical marker while I'm out there. But if a year or two down the line, I'm doing something else on Texas history or history in general, I have that stock footage that I shot out there. That's all, how everything is connected. One thing builds on the other, and fortunately, I can kind of go to that stock footage library I have and pull from, if there was a mission in South Texas that is somehow relevant to a historical person or event that happened up in North Texas, I'll have it and I'll say, oh, I can do a piece on this particular topic, and I'm fortunate to have the footage I need. I don't need to stop what I'm doing and drive 8 hours to another part of Texas.
Yeah.
All that being said, I continue to use what I shot to put together new projects, but at some point, I'm going to need to sit down and really catalog everything I've got, kind of look at a map
Yeah.
and say, I've got this from here and that from there, and uh, hopefully some kind of new project will kind of present itself, or I'll think of something, or other interested parties will get with me. I've talked to other people about, let's think about all the markers in Texas and all the footage I've got and what we can do, what we can make available. So Something I'd like to see something larger than what I'm doing now happen.
Okay.
I don't know what that would be or what form that would take.
Yeah. I, as you were talking, I got to thinking you could produce a really good coffee table book with the marker and then a little bit of the
Yeah,
history
maybe.
behind it.
I
Yeah.
mean, I've thought about that before. Trying to take high res photographs as well as, I'm
Uh-huh.
shooting in 4K video just for posterity, just so,
Yeah.
down the line we'll have that. A lot of these, you'll see a marker next to a building that's very old and run down, and maybe years from now the marker will still be there, but the building will not. So, I'm trying to save what I can of that imagery so that, ideally the markers will always be there, but if someone wanted to see, here's what it looked like in 2005 when it was still available to see, we would have that
Yeah.
available.
Okay.
So, a
Um,
lot of places I'll go and it'll just be a marker out on the side of the road with
uh-huh.
nothing
Yeah.
near it. So,
Maybe
yeah,
there's a
too late for
trash
that.
can there or a picnic table or something.
Sure. Yeah. Sometimes not
Yeah.
even that.
I wrote a book last year called Discovering America with Sailor the Boat Dog. And uh, it's a children's book. I have some
Nice.
friends that live on a boat and they have a dog. Her name is Sailor. She's an Irish Terrier. And I asked him, send me a list of historical places you've been. And so they sent me this list, and I went to the historical marker database, looked up the
No.
historical marker for that area, and told a little bit of the history of what went on in that area. And then I created a story about Sailor getting into some kind of adventure or misadventure. So that was a little different approach on historical markers, a book about it for children. But
That's a
so,
great
yeah,
idea. I
there's
like
lots of
that.
things we can do with it. Hey, I wanted to ask a couple of questions. I don't mean to ambush you on these. They're pretty
Okay.
straightforward.
That's all
You
right.
kind of mentioned one. Well, can you think about what was the most unusual marker that you found so far?
Um, there's a lot of unusual ones. Um,
Yeah, I
you-
recently posted a podcast on the Baby Head
I,
Cemetery.
I was just about to say that. That's
Yeah,
an odd one.
yeah,
And I saw that you did it. I haven't listened to that one yet, but I
yeah.
saw that I was like, oh yeah, I've been out to Baby Head Cemetery before. One of my favorites is in Odessa, Texas. That's out in West Texas in, oil country.
Uh-huh.
And they have a statue. It used to be the world's largest jackrabbit, but I think there's a larger jackrabbit out there.
I think I've seen that. Uh-huh.
It's still out there, and it's still a great big jackrabbit you can go take a picture of. But right next to it is a historical marker, and the marker is just about jackrabbits, about the animal itself and how how it relates to the culture and the history. On the back of that marker, there is a recipe for, I think, jackrabbit stew, and it's
Okay.
not it's not like a piece of paper taped onto it. It's like a metal. It's welded on there, and it's the writing is in the metal, and it's a very simple recipe for how to make jackrabbit stew. That may be one of my favorites that has stood out
I
to me.
love it. I love it. Hey, when when I was in the Air Force years ago, I taught basic training there in San Antonio at Lackland Air Force Base, and there were
Right.
so many times where we would have our recruits out on the parade field uh, doing drill, getting ready for graduation ceremony, and there'd be jackrabbits running
Oh,
all over
sure.
that place.
Oh,
They
yeah.
uh they
I don't
don't they
know.
don't hop, they run.
They run, yeah, and I don't know, they have a recipe for the stew. They don't
I
look
like that.
like there are rabbits you've seen like domesticated rabbits that are kind of big and chunky,
Yeah,
but those jackrabbits are long and lean and
yeah.
they don't look good to eat.
No. Somebody told me one time they're great for target practice. Well, I don't know
No,
about that.
sure, yeah, but I mean they're
I don't know
fast,
about
so
that.
you got to be good. Some of
Have
the
you come
others that I will.
across, I'm
I'm sorry,
sorry?
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, have you come across a really remote one somewhere, way back in the woods or somewhere that you can
Oh,
think of?
yes, those are. but not one specifically that comes to mind. So some of my favorites, and I think I've only been able to do two of them, are in Central Texas. We have a lot of caves, and some of them
Oh,
are, yeah, a lot of them are privately owned, and you can go take the tour. And some of them are, they're all very old, but some of them are relevant to history, such that they
uh-huh.
have their own historic marker. So that's always a fun one. Instead of like a battlefield or a cemetery, I can do a video, inside the cave showing
Yeah.
the the stalactites and the bats. I was just at Cascade Cavern near Bernie, Texas, and they had bats that you would just walk through, and the bats would just fly past your head, and
Yeah.
that's always fun to do something different.
Okay. That's fascinating. How would somebody find you on the internet to be able to look at some of your videos and find out the information about what you do?
So I post um, a new video every Tuesday and every Wednesday, and I post it on my Instagram and my TikTok, and both of those are at TX History Markers. So if you're on Instagram, if you're on TikTok, it's the same username, TX History Markers. Um, you can follow me on those two right now. And like I said, I post a new one every Texas Tuesday and Throwback Thursday.
Okay. Very good. That's good. Um, it's just enjoyable to go out, and it doesn't take long to find these interesting places. And who
Yeah.
knows, maybe somebody will be driving down the road, they'll come across a town, they go, wait a minute, I want to go visit a historical marker that I heard about or saw about.
Yeah,
That's great.
absolutely. And I do want to say, for this kind of thing, all I do is I read the text of the marker and edit corresponding video to it. I don't make any kind of commentary or
Uh-huh.
anything else. It's just the text of the marker. And some of my other work, I'll do different kind of things
Yeah.
with narration and whatnot. But this I kind of see as a service just to I'm not adding my opinion or anything like that. I'm just reading the text,
Yeah.
and it's very straightforward. So if you just want to do, you can't visit that spot, but this is hopefully the next best thing.
Okay. Well, it it helps create an interest in our heritage, the community around it. If you're a history buff, yeah, they're probably already involved with it. This just adds to it. I've encouraged history teachers that I know to start using these kind of things in their curriculum because it has a lot of value to reminding us this is a great nation. It's had quite a past.
Yeah, and
All right.
it's a lot of people think they might live in a small town that's nothing interesting ever happened. But if you read some of these things, another interesting one is Terrell, Texas, a suburb of Dallas. It's a mid-sized town. It is what it is. If you live there, you might not think it was that remarkable, but they had a flying school there during World War II where
Huh?
British pilots would come from England. They would go to Terrell, Texas. They would learn how to fly, and then they would go fly in the war. And that's an interesting one. That's you wouldn't think, right there in the middle of North Texas, something like that would have happened. And it's a smallish town. Uh, and it's a interesting way to find out really unique information.
Yeah, that is fascinating. I did not know that they had that school there. I live here close to Montgomery, Alabama, where we had the Wright brothers had a flying school. But I don't know about, I mean, I just didn't know about bringing in foreign pilots. I do know that there was one down at Randolph Air Force Base in San Antonio also. That was a big flight school uh, and Maxwell Air Force Base, all that. So yeah, well, Texas is a great place to fly. There's a lot of open territory. So
Sure, and yeah, during wartime, it's also surprising. You'll be in the middle of Texas and you'll be like, oh, this was a prisoner of war camp for
yeah. Hmm.
people from Europe, and they would be here during the duration of the war. Some of them stayed, got married. Some of them went back to, Germany or Japan or wherever. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's wild what you'd see.
Texas has such a storied past. I mean, just amazing. If you're any kind of a history buff, you're going to be studying something that happened in Texas. It's just,
Yeah,
you know,
it's there's a lot, a lot, a lot.
yeah, the East Coast has its Revolutionary War, and
Right.
California had its gold rush or whatever, but Texas has just, if you're a war buff, a cattle buff, a land buff, whatever, it's
Yeah,
amazing.
yep.
Uh, and if you're a football fan, there's that
Well,
too.
it depends. Each
Okay,
season, you never know what you're going to get.
that's right. Todd, I've enjoyed this. I really have.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I also want to thank Chris for recommending me. He does a great job. He does great videos. He restores a lot of historical markers. I'm a big fan of his, and
Yeah.
it's a great thing he does.
Yeah, you guys touch base a little bit there in what you do, but each of you is a little bit unique. He does the restoration part and tells a little bit of the story, but the two of you approach it in different ways. So both of you are bringing value to what we do. So
Yeah, we
that's
said
great to hear.
we need to team up and do a couple of collaborations. Well, we still haven't made it happen yet, but we're relatively close to each other. Hopefully we can make that happen.
All right, that sounds good. All right, well, my friend, let me wrap up and we'll go from there. Okay.
Great.
Well, friends, there you have it. A story behind the story from America's historical signs and markers. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I invite you to subscribe and continue listening as we bring more episodes about the rich heritage of our great nation. Please share this podcast with others. If you have interesting stories about historical signs and markers, email me at americanhistoricalmarkers@gmail.com. That's americanhistoricalmarkers@gmail.com. Maybe your story behind the story will be featured. I'm your host, Dave Layton, and thank you for listening and safe travels.